Oh my God, you guys, welcome back. I am so excited to be doing this. This is something that I reached out and tried to do before the shows, I think last season. And this is our very first retail roundup. Good God, say that 5 times. I have Barbara from Daisy's Mercantile, Sara from Occasionette, and Nathan from Nathan & Co. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's going to be a little bit like the Brady Bunch, I bet. So because it's a totally different format and because retailers who follow other retailers always have questions for each other. So I had put it out there for you guys to have a couple questions to ask each other. We'll get to that. But first, I want to do a little bit of catch up. Barbara, we're going to start with you because you had talked about this project of creating a classroom. And I was so excited and I wanted to go film there, but did not happen. But I really want to catch up with you and hear about the classroom and how it's going and kind of tell everybody about what the classes are like and what it looks like to take a class at Daisy's.
Classroom is up and running. It's been done now about a year. We've been doing classes about 5 months. I had to go through a whole imposter syndrome, can't touch the room, can't be in there and lead a class, kind of whole mental breakdown. And then my staff sat down and said, people are asking, like, just stand up and do something. So I did. And of course, first one went sailingly smooth and everyone's just gotten better. And now I don't know what I was thinking. So we do all different kinds of classes in here, from framing and using cheap frames to like really up an art thing. And let's see here, we've done embroidery classes. We've done lots of different kinds of cooking classes, styling classes I have. So like to my left, you'll see there's like a mantle there. And so we have that, like how to design your mantle for the holidays and that type of thing. It's super fun. It's secretly a great way to sell a lot of product. Even in the cooking classes, we now took one of my big hutches and it's just, the Daisy's classroom core. And so it's everything that they see the whole time. And it's amazing how much of it goes up to the register at the end of a class. But it's just really, really, really fun and super interactive. I'm sure that, Nathan and Sara will agree. It is so hard to find artwork to sell in a store. You can find great prints, but finding stuff that's framed and all that's nice, that's not a gazillion dollars, is so hard. And especially now where we're at in Alameda, you have all these young families who've paid all of this insane money for a house and they want it to look good. But I mean, they've paid all this insane money for a house and the money for artwork just isn't there. So that's been a very fun class that I love. So we're like, here's how to take some really crappy $10 frames and make yourself like the most amazing grouping and stuff. And people have loved it. I was shocked I had 2 ladies who were in their 70s who took one of the classes. But it's super fun. We're having a lot of fun in here.
How are you marketing them?
I would say I put them more online, but, and I do, but they've been selling out in like, the last appetizer class we had oversold in an hour and a half. So
that is insane. I honestly, I think that's the most brilliant. I think when we first talked, you were going to have Hester and Cook come in and do tablescaping.
Yeah. So
it's aerospace.
What we're working on right now is right above the classroom is another unit so the classroom's about 700 square feet and upstairs is about 750. And we're just now to the electrical and we will have a full 1-bedroom apartment up there. That's not actually, it's right across the steps from our house. There's 2 separate buildings on the property. So the back one has the classroom in the bottom and this now 1-bedroom unit upstairs. And that will be, everybody's like, get an Airbnb? I'm like, nope. You can be a friend. You can be a kid coming home from college. Mostly it's to have an artist in residence. Yeah, you can come visit. And it's going to be like an artist in residence. And we're going to have people come, people who I know who teach amazing craft classes and stuff. And they'll come stay like 10 days, so they're here for 2 weekends, teach on both ends, and then have a wonderful place to stay for a week and do a little vacationing. The one thing I did up there that was super fun is we have this weird alcove in both. And down here in the classroom, I turned it into a bar, but upstairs, I turned it into like the ultimate craft closet. So it has these super fancy doors and all. But when you open it, so if you're here to, be a creative teacher and this and that, and you've got this gorgeous big long table and every craft supply one could think of stashed right there so that you can keep it going. So we're really looking forward to what that is going to do for really bringing in some people who we just are so excited for.
Well, the one I now am following him is the guy that does the embroidery on photo, on maps and stuff like that. Sarah, if you haven't seen it, it's amazing. It's like incredible installation. What's his name again? So everyone can.
Robert Mahar.
I mean, unbelievable. And that's when I was like, one, my ADD is way too high to be able to do something like that. But visually, like from the anthropology, like part of me, it's like, oh my God, it was fucking amazing.
Yeah. He's, in fact, he'll be here in 2 weeks doing birthday banners. So
amazing. Sara, let's catch up with you. You are moving and I can't wait to get the dirt on this one.
Yeah, so we have been bursting at the seams at our original shop on East Passyunk Avenue in South Philly. And we outgrew that shop 6 years ago. And it just never occurred to me to move, or it felt like a pain in the ass. I just was like, no, it's good. But we had been planning this summer to close for like a week and a half or 2 weeks to like I kept calling it like a mini reni, even though it was going to be a pretty significant renovation on the space. But at the end of the day, it's not a nice space. It just kind of is what it is. It's a long windowless box on the first floor of a building in South Philly. And so this new space kind of fell into our lap. It's a block up the avenue, north on the avenue. It's directly across the street from the two most popular bars on this strip of restaurants. And it is a really rare space in South Philly. It is 28 feet wide, which is a double wide in South Philly. And then it is like 13 feet tall and goes back. It's like twice the square footage what we have now at that shop. And it is just bathed in natural light, which you're all in California, so you don't know how rare that is in South Philly. It is a precious commodity here. And so the windows on the storefront open all the way up. It's this really cool aluminum storefront system. And we're going to cutify it. We're going to put an awning across the front and make it very Occasionette-y. We've already, splashed so much color in the space through paint and tile and, everything else. And I'm super, super excited because I feel like, we've been in this neighborhood for 11 years and this neighborhood has been just so overwhelmingly great to us over, the past decade. And I'm just really excited to like have a proper home for my first business baby. So yeah, we're kind of like right in the middle of it. We sat down today with the team to just go over like the nitty gritty of like the timeline, and it's coming. We're doing it real fast.
My next question is, because one of the things that was so impressive about you is how much of a planner you and your team are. I mean, to the point of like, I so wish I had that in me, but you...
I think at this moment in time, they might disagree with you on how much of a planner I am. It feels a little seat of my pants right at this very moment. But we sort of thrive on really just, work. I like to just see everything kind of written out. If there's a possible way to make a spreadsheet for something, I will. My Virgo brain just really enjoys seeing everything written out.
So when you did the design for the store, obviously you are opening with your existing inventory, plus I'm sure a whole bunch of brand new inventory. Like how long have you been planning this? And then what is the ETA for your opening?
I mean, it's all so fast. I signed the lease like April 1st. And we are looking to do our soft opening in the middle of June. It's
that's
like real fast. But I have to say it was a really just cosmetic, outfit. It was not, it was paint. It was a reptile store. So it did involve removing some snakes.
Yeah, that's right. Snake.
What? No, you can hire people to do that. There are people who just take away stuff. There were no live animals when we moved in, but we, have been just de-waterfalling. And, once we took out the waterfalls and the snake habitats, it was just a regular retail space.
I've been like, where was I? When I was in Vegas, I went to drop off my talk about random. I went to drop off my dry cleaning and I'm like, what is that weird? Of course, Michelle says it out loud. What is that weird smell in here? And they're like, oh, it must be the reptile store next door. I'm like, it permeates through here. And they're like, yeah, I'm all, wow. So I can only imagine some of the disinfecting that you have to do along with unwaterfalling.
Yeah. We definitely like hired a professional, junk removal company. We, took out a bunch of like the drywall and surfaces and replaced them. And then, lots of coats of just paint and tile.
My God, I cannot wait to see it. Nathan. Okay.
How does one beat a beautiful classroom and moving down the street to a former reptile store? Like, I have nothing to really say.
Well, one, I'm going to point out, because I don't know how many people know this that are on Instagram and that follow on your Instagram, they know, but that follow the podcast. I don't know how many people know that you are one of the top rated Airbnb hosts that there is, and you happen to be sitting in your Airbnb space.
I am sitting in my Airbnb space. I was teasing Barbara a little earlier because she was teasing me about jumping ship right before Mother's Day. But I really kind of needed a break. And Airbnbs, they can get away from you if you don't spend enough time in them, just doing little chores and making sure things are done. But yes, thank you for mentioning it. We are in the top 10% of properties worldwide, which there's like, I want to say close to 8 million properties. So it's like a huge thing.
Will you turn your camera a little so we can see a little?
My camera is on. Can you see?
Yes. So cute. I love it. Where's the Airbnb? Because it's close. You and Barbara are both up in the San Francisco area, Oakland, Alameda. Where's the Airbnb?
So the Airbnb is in Sonoma County, which is a famous county north of San Francisco because of wine and because of the ocean and because of the Russian River. So, and the redwoods. So the cabin is actually nestled in this beautiful little forest. It's totally idyllic. And it's the perfect place just to come hang out. Like, I came up Friday night after work and my car is still sitting in the exact same place
that it
was on Friday. Like, I've not left. I stopped at the grocery store, got everything, and I just have no desire to like leave. So it's really, really fun.
Is this where you disappear to after the show season? Because we all know post-show, it's like you're just going. Is this where you disappear to?
Our biggest escape for after the Christmas rush. Like I like have on my calendar like how many more days I have to like go through, the Christmas, the Christmas marathon, and then we escape on Christmas Eve and drive up here and like literally don't move for like a week. It's so fun. But I highly recommend it. If anyone's fantasized about having the second place, it really is this rejuvenating thing to do for yourself. And with Airbnb, it makes it, somewhat affordable because it really subsidizes some of the expenses of having the second property.
Yeah.
And being creative, like I really am into the Airbnb thing. Like I totally adore the guests. I like getting ready for them. I like surprising them and delighting them just like I would in the store. So, it's like every drawer that they're going to open, I love knowing that they're going to be rooting around looking for things, and to have special things that we're sharing with them. It's kind of magic. And the other part of it is like, we love to go away for the weekend and like little mini getaways. And we're not so much into like these huge trips. But having a place to go really saves you money, because like just to go away for the weekend in the Bay Area, it's really, really expensive. So we're actually going up at the end of the month to Mendocino, and I was like kind of shocked like how much it was costing. I was like, wow, it saves us money because we're not doing that, every 2 months.
Yeah.
Taking this little rendezvous.
It for you. Bring it
at the stores. We're kind of going through a little renovation too. It's a store that you visited, Michelle. We just re-signed our lease, and so I negotiated a budget to redo the exterior of the space because it's really desperate. So I'm excited about that. So we're going through designs right now and trying to figure out what we're doing. And like Sarah, when she was considering renovating the first store, we actually did that like 8 years ago. And what I thought I could do in like 3 weeks with closing and getting repaint and a new bathroom ended up being like 6 weeks. Oh. And it was so difficult. I think it's much easier to move up the street than to renovate your store.
Yeah. I would add, though, that I'm learning that I think just opening a whole new store and not moving an old one is probably the easiest. So it'd be like opening a new store, then moving, then renovating.
Totally. I mean, the renovation thing while you're there, which our store that Michelle visited really needs a renovation because we've been there for, I think, like 13 years.
Wow.
And so I'm like, well, the exterior, the landlord is helping to finance that part of it. And so it shouldn't be so disruptive to business, but even just to paint a store, everything has to come down, everything has to be stored so that they can skim coat and paint. And it's like opening a new store.
Can't wait to see. Are both of you guys, since you're opening, like you have the big changes going, please tell me you're going to go on stories and kind of like show some of this going on from behind the scenes, please. That's
a great idea. I love to share
too. I will.
Lately, though, for some reason, I feel a little bit burnt out.
Really? Why? Why so? From social media period, or just Instagram?
Basically Instagram. Like I'm finding, I don't know. I just taken like a little bit of a break, and it's so bizarre because our followers have grown tremendously because I feel like I'm starving them now.
Oh,
where I used to like post every day, 2-3 times a day sometimes. And now I'm kind of like, I'm going to post when I really have something I want to say or when I really have something I want to share. And it's like we're getting more followers now than we ever had. And I don't know why.
Well, what's your count right to me? What number are you at? It's like you hit this number and it's like all of a sudden you start gaining. I don't know what it is.
I'm nowhere near Sarah. We are at 4,692.
Yeah, I think as soon as you start getting up and like, I think someone said the magic number is like 4 or 5,000, and then it really starts to like happen. I mean, if I go off social media, I realized like when I was going through everything I was going through last year and I was not on it very often, I lost so many followers. I'm like, wow, I guess, I mean, it's nice that people show up for you, but it's like, it somewhat becomes somewhat scary. Like if something happens, it's like, I guess you better have shit in your back pocket to throw up and just get something up there if you're not ready to, show up and be like your usual happy self.
Exactly. Yeah. I actually, the other part of my life, I run a Facebook group as a volunteer for Airbnb. And what I get from it is I get, constant contact with Airbnb staff in San Francisco and our relationships, and I learn about the platform. But my responsibility is to run this club of hosts in Sonoma and Napa counties, which has been super, super fun. But same thing, like I have to communicate, like I have to daily have some kind of something to feed them. otherwise they lose interest. And unlike Instagram, on Facebook, you really want them to be interactive with you, because that means you're going to show up in their feed more.
Yeah.
So you're constantly asking them questions and responding and stuff like that. But it's interesting to like use both of those parts of my brain.
Sara, you started to say something about your social.
Oh, just that I have two really tiny kids. And so I just have not been posting on Instagram as much because I work out of our office here most of the time. I'm not in the shops. I don't have, a ton of, content. I was, and I feel kind of the same as Nathan, where like, I've just kind of decided like, I don't really feel like posting unless I have something like really post worthy. Yeah. And I'm not trying to open any more new shops right now. So what the heck is post worthy anyway? Like, and so, except for moving was post worthy, but, in general, I just have been trying to, I'm so frustrated with trying to keep up with what the algorithm's hungry for these days. What's it craving? What does it want? And I quite frankly, maybe I'm just old enough now that I'm just like, I don't have time for this. Like you figure your shit out on your own time, Instagram. Like I've just been focusing on building our email list because my business is too important to give into the whims of some other, megacorp. Like I'm just not into it.
I mean, truth be known, everyone says like your Instagram can be gone. Somebody could hijack and it's gone in a day. And the only thing you really own is your email list. So that's actually really brilliant. So Barbara, do you do your Instagram or does your daughter do Instagram or something?
I do it, when I do it, but I'm in the set. Like if we send out an email, I see instantly the difference. It gets and we have a huge open rate. I have not ever taken anyone off the list. And we have an open rate of normally about 60%, sometimes more.
I was going to ask. Yeah. We have anywhere between 50 and 70%, depending on.
And I have a huge, I think I have 4 or 5 times the amount of people on my email list that I have on Instagram. And so that's where it's at.
I love that.
On it, and I know that it works because when we added doing classes for the classroom and I send out an email about it, what shocked me the most was how many people are on our email list and still open them and haven't been in the store in a year. The first 3 classes I had, 25% of the people who came to the class had either never been to Daisy's because they came with a friend or hadn't been in the store in over a year. And they all signed up because of the email.
That's incredible. I love that, Barbara. You're so smart.
It's like, it's
really great.
Everything right now is talking, like everything is all about social media, and you've got to be on. I'm talking to the 3 antis. It's hilarious. And you guys better response than anybody's having.
Yeah, but I'm not anti. I still think it's like really important.
Not like everything.
I think that we don't have to be a slave to it. Like I think that we can take it at our own pace, and it's okay to take a little break. I think that they appreciate real content, I guess. Then I feel like I have to post something.
Yeah.
You guys have e-commerce like components, because that was a big part of my decision to sort of pull back a little bit on the amount of Instagram content I was posting, is that at this point, we haven't done e-commerce in over a year, and I have no desire to have an e-commerce facet of Occasionette for the time being. And so I was kind of like, I'm not linking it to shoppable, clickable things anyway. It's just to keep people apprised of what the shops look like these days. And I don't think I need to do that by posting multiple times a day or 4 reels a week or whatever the magic potion is a month. Like,
I do e-commerce, but in lots of ways, unless I'm getting coverage, it's not really like it can be a real business like twice a year. Christmas being one of them, because we do spend a lot of energy and money and time, getting products placed. And it's worth it in that regard. But on a day-to-day basis, there are lots of days where we don't have any orders. And then there's lots of days where we might have like one or two. We're still doing curbside pickup because our customers like it for some reason, even though I think it's a pain. But we have staff to do it, so I continue to do it. But if we didn't have them, I would totally shut it off where it just had to be shipped.
A lot of people are still doing the curbside pickups. I mean, especially like grocery stores, and I mean, even like Target has, like, at least over here in Oregon, has the pickup where it's, I think everyone's gotten so used to, like, I'm not going in the store, I'm just going to pull up outside. Where I think the ease of that, like, they think that's just part of the new way now of shopping, of what it looks like. Some of the changes that we have experienced and now it seems like are in full, like, this is how it is now.
To wear a slightly different hat, when I have a 15-month-old, and so a year ago, to take a baby in and out of a car, I'm like, I get it. I was never like fully someone who understood like the lure of, curbside pickup, but when you have to strap a baby in and out of a car seat multiple times in an hour, I will take a drive-through coffee. Thank you.
Smart. Barbara, you don't do because you've got your little.
We have some. Mostly it's because people text. We get a lot of people who got used to texting the store and saying, put together a gift for $50. And we text them a picture of what the gift is. We wrap it. Somebody picks it up, or Ron drops it off. And I don't have the website. I don't have any e-commerce up for that. We will have e-commerce up starting the beginning of August, only because it'll be classroom focused, because we're going to start videoing some of the classes.
Wow.
I have a lot of people who come, like they're either here to visit mom or they're here to visit their daughter and this and that. And they said, we want a piece of the classroom pie. And so we will film them, and you can buy the package of the stuff that we have for sale that class is focusing on.
That is fucking brilliant. Oh,
and so that's going to be a big part.
You're next level, Barbara.
This is my retirement strategy. I don't want to have a store forever, but I want to use this classroom. I never want to not work. Yeah. But I don't want to work 7 days a week in the store.
Barbara, you can't say anything more, because that was my question for you. What's our retirement strategy?
Oh, okay. Well, I will talk about it then.
You can go ahead. I'll come up with a new question. Go ahead.
That is it. That's what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to use it for. And because we have the building, and it just seems like the perfect way to do it. And now that I know it's fun.
Okay. I do wonder though. So you retire, you own the building, you live upstairs, your classroom's in the back. You have somebody else rent out that store. I don't see that go. Like, I can see you going down there and walking through and like, what's happening here, or like how do you let that go?
We will scale it back we will put back the one piece that was in there that when I took it down when we bought the building. So you know how we had that like greenhouse cottage, that will go away, and they will rent the front. And I have a couple of customers and 2 staff members who all are kind of very interested in that someday. And it would probably go to one of those couple of staffers. And they're allowed to call it Lazy's. They're allowed to call it Maisie's. They're allowed to call it anything but Daisy's. And they can run whatever they want. But Ina Garden said that having had Jay's and my bakery and all, and it's had 8 owners in 15 years, watching what somebody can do to your beloved thing, I just can't do it. I won't do it. So it will become somebody else's something else, and Daisy's will close. And whoever gets the space will get an amazing list of customers and vendors and tips and tricks and a key. That's that.
It's yours. I'm out of here. Okay. I'm going to start off the 2 questions. You all get the same question. My first question is, we are heading into show season, And this is the summer show. Some of you guys, I think I think actually all three of you do your holiday buys in January. But with summer, like a lot of retailers look at the summer shows, doing their fourth quarter buys and whatnot. How do you go into show season? Do you have a plan? Are you going by budget? Are you concepting things already? Because I know, Barbara, you're a conceptor. What does going into show season look like, and what does your plan look like? I'm going to start with Barbara.
We're pretty set. I will go in and fill in the concepts. Now we're doing the concepts for a year. We've really kind of started diving in deep with letting the customers know what our concepts are a lot more versus just kind of visually figuring it out. And people get really into it. Like our front area that has like living in home is called City Girl. And like people have started like sending me, I made a Pinterest board that's like City Girl and things, and they've got really into it. And we went last week, I had a creative day for a couple of staffers, and we went to the San Francisco Showcase House. And in this one bathroom, you could pick up an old fashioned phone and leave a comment about how you felt about, her work and stuff. And so now I've started going on and ordering all these phones so that people could jump on and leave us, and got the device so that they could leave us little comments and we could have a little story about City Girl. So we're going to have 5 phones around the store that you can pick up and find more out about the theme and like what inspired us to do this, and on and on and on. So we're pretty like, the themes are set and we better not change them because people are invested in it.
You never fail to blow my mind. Like, oh my God. Okay.
It was so funny because I wasn't the one who like fell in love with the phone. It was 2 of my staffers who went, "We're doing this. We're going to have this." And they're young, so they're not used to like a big old fashioned phone. So I think it's hysterical, but they were totally into this whole thing. So we're going to find all those little pieces to fine tune. So City Girl has had, her spring and summer. So for Christmas, she's going to be very much about, we're going to do a lot of our pet there and a lot of that type of thing. But yeah, we're going to just pick the nitty gritty and the little stuff. I mean, all the holiday stuff is purchased.
What does holiday look like for City Girl?
The whole overriding theme for our holiday is a European market. So every section will get these big ribbon banners that we've designed. The entire store is getting 400 feet of greenery that's tied over arches that will go back and forth crisscross the store. So you feel like you're walking down one of those little European streets, and they'll all be lit up. And then there'll be a banner over each section that says like, City Girl loves her dog, and it's all doggy items, and City Girl loves her kitty. And then every section will have a little banner for what that little European market is within the store. So like Christmas layers on what each theme is, but it's much driven by who she is and what she's doing in each little section.
I'm like, can't even talk right now. I've said this a lot, and merchandising is storytelling. And if that isn't the best storytelling I've ever heard, that's like next level anthropology. Like, bravo! Like,
I wish you could have seen the face of my contractor when I explained to him why we were hanging 30-foot spans of PVC pipe that I'm going to cover with all of this stuff. And I said, "You're going to need to make these anchors." And he goes, "Why would you do this?" I said, "Because it's going to be pretty." He's like, and he goes, "Okay."
Because your holiday, okay, so last holiday you assembled, and I can't wait to talk about it to Sarah's holiday, but last holiday you guys assembled like some insane number of what we did. We made it look like a circus tent inside. And so we had 2 big puffy centers, and then we made these big chandeliers. I call them chandeliers of fun. But we sewed that 2,700 feet of stars together on a sewing machine and made 200 little waves of stars that flickered. So you felt like you were in little circus tents. And how, because I know every retailer under the sun right now is asking themselves, like, how long did this take and how many staffers did you have hands on?
We start, like, we have the Tuesday after Mother's Day, we'll have our meeting to like, okay, these are definitely all the supplies. And we start and we work all summer on them. And people are so intrigued when they go up to the counter and whoever at the counter is like cutting out. I mean, it would take 87 or 8,500 little stars that we all cut them out of old music books. We have a great used bookstore down the street. And I said to him, give me every music, piano book you have or whatever you're never going to sell. Just sell me those ones. And we cut stars out of them all and then we sewed them on a sewing machine. And customers get so into like, well, what's it going to be? Well, what's this? And on and on and on. I will post next week some of the stuff we did for the birthday one. My person in charge of doing all of this, like we made 25 cakes. And, going to when the guy at the hardware store says, why are you buying 12 quarts of spackle? Like, how many holes could you have? Oh, no, it's icing for a cake. I'm sure I have a reputation in the hardware / construction community of that woman's nuts. Just go with whatever. You'll never understand.
It's like me going to Salvation Army and buying all of the books and having like 4 carts I'm trying to drag along and navigate. And like, I have like the cashiers, everyone like, oh, you must read a lot. I'm like, I do. I don't even try to explain it. I'm like, I do. And, it's like, I get the people looking at you like, what the hell? Okay, Sarah, I don't know how you're going to follow that one up, but I do. Like,
I'd rather not.
I do want to hear how you go into this.
I mean, how does one even? Oh my God. Yeah, we have our stories mapped out. There's no way to follow that. No, we have.
Well, what's your plan when you go to show? Like, what is? Because you guys, again, like you guys are like I was always so impressed by like how organized you are in your concepting and planning. And you were doing colored out, which was Barbara's the one who introduced me to you, and she was saying about your bath shop and like how like everything was colored out, and that was so impressive. So you have a plan. So
I do have a plan. Yeah. So one of my dumb little like favorite things to do is to assign really like dippy names to our like different stories within the shop. So like one year, one of my little stories was mad about plaid in the woods. Or like this year we decided the take on that sort of like, woodland animal creature, Christmas party is, we went a little more basic. So this year it's just like fancy forest. I just like to assign like dumb little names, but to just give like a feel to the, to the table or the set of shelves or whatever. This year, because we set our story, we have like kind of a rough outline of our stories. Basically, we sit down right after we, merch for holiday. We sit down and kind of say, okay, what do we love about this? What do we want to do again next year? What do we want to like tweak and alter? So we've had our stories set for 2024 holiday for 6 months already. And so we're just now, though, we threw a wrench in it because now one of our stores is mutating and is, a completely different size and shape than it was before. So we have a little bit of retinkering to do. But, in general, I'm really excited. We have, like Barbara, we have like the bulk of our like Christmas, our decor, most of our, holiday candles we do through, early buy programs. And, we've kind of done that. It's just a lot of like fill in, but also, I think something that I'm a little late to coming around to is just the idea of like, I need to be buying in July for January. I just, I'm so tired of resetting the shop every year after holiday when we're, doing inventory and everything and taking all the Christmas out. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, where are all the orders? Oh, no one shipped anything in December because everyone was crazy in December and none of the vendors had their shit together. And so the shelves are frustratingly empty. So that's our whole plan this year, is just combating January empty tables by integrating more sort of everyday January product into the tail end of our holiday season. So now I feel like we have this kind of crazy thing where I have these like dippy little stories, you know, and then I'm trying to dovetail in just a plain winter story to kind of, restock the table after, X number of weeks into the holiday season. We can like introduce fresh merch that's not seasonal specific, but plays well with the things that are.
Is it challenging? Now you've written your holiday and now you're writing orders for Asbury or whatever delivery window is. And then you're also writing orders for January. Are they are correlating? So you already know, like, this is going to go into the fresh forest. This is going to go, or is there anything that you're doing like rolling out in January that's brand new?
This will be the first year that we're not going to have 8 brand new stories in January. We're going to like kind of feather them in, into the tail end of the like December stories, but it's new. So we might try it and hate it and then go back to having fresh in January. But, what I realized we were doing, which was, not great or healthy or sustainable, is that we were, just really trying to always nail like that perfect, how deep to order on something like, oh, we just want to run out on, December 24th. Well, obviously that's like a game we all try to play and no one wins. That's not possible. And so, or you can do it maybe for 2 SKUs, but that's probably it. And so, everything else you're either wildly over or wildly under. In my case, I'm a crazy person. And so I was always over. And so, then you're just like either marking down way too much stuff after holiday, or, we do have a couple warehouse sales throughout the year, but at the end of the day, I don't want to just sit on holiday stuff. And so, I think I just realized that like the only way to combat having, a full store of holiday, because we didn't want the store to look empty on December 20th, 24th, whatever. I just, like I said, I'm really late to this party, but I'm like, oh, wait, we can, instead of like holding all our January merch and trying to like save it, we're gonna like purposely try to feather it in and try to like do stories that complement each other so that it doesn't look totally wackadoodle to have, I don't know, I can't even think of an example, but like, an Italian pasta cookbook next to, a soft winter white snowflakey, table. Like I'm trying to like do things that actually like work together instead of, competing.
I had a question and now of course I forgot. This is same Michelle. Okay, your window, I do want to touch on your window from last Christmas because I was like,
because I borrowed a little of Barbara's crazy.
Explain your window because, I mean, I just gave a talk in Chicago and it was, one of my things was don't treat your window like a garage sale. Like, plan your window out, change your window, look at your window from the outside, look at it from the inside. Are there dead flies in it? Does your mannequin only have 1 finger? Does she have a wig? Does she not? I mean, all of those things. Your window was phenomenal. Do tell about the person that does the installs and how you guys come up with it. Do you give her creative control? Because it was stunning.
It's me. I give her a lot of creative control.
Girl, I don't know why I thought it was somebody else.
Like, no, I have a really, really, really amazing team who was so vital to install, but all the crazy, I explained my ideas to her and she is such a good sport, but looks at me like I have 4 heads and is like, well, if that's what you want to do.
Explain the window so everyone can get a visual.
So last Christmas, we took 14,000 like classic, shiny, traditional Christmas balls in like primary colors, and we strung them each together on like an 18-inch piece of floral wire, and then basically created like these cascades of, so it looked like 14,000 Christmas ornaments falling through the window and through the glass at each store. So it spilled from the top of the window, down diagonally and then came, quote unquote, through the window and into the window boxes. And so the window boxes were just covered in these Christmas ornaments. And we did it at 2 of our stores. The third store, the way the window's set up, it just wasn't conducive to it. You can walk right up to, it's just a plate glass window that you can just walk right up to. So, we didn't end up doing it as much there, but the other 2 stores, yeah, in hindsight, I'm like really glad that we gave the original location that we're moving away from. I'm really glad we gave it like a really good finale as a Christmas window, because it was really fun to do. That store has a little like vestibule that's, exterior vestibule that you walk through to get into the front door. And we like made the glass balls go through, started in one window, went up. It looked like they went through the one window and over the vestibule. So you were walking under them to get into the store and then down into the other window. It was fun. It was, it took like 3 or 4 days of installation at each shop. It took a couple weeks of prep, like stringing ornaments on floral wire. I may or may not have had my 4-year-old help me. But mommy had to bring home a box to do it because I had homework. And so, but it was really fun. I would do it again in a heartbeat. That's my favorite thing. We as a rule do not ever put product in windows. I just love treating them as an art installation. It's just my favorite thing to do. It's hard. So we have more misses than hits. I don't think our windows always look great. I would love for our windows always to look great, but in general, I won't put product in them that just gets sun damaged. The way I would have to put product in them, I'm not going to order 14,000 of whatever product I'm going to put in the window, but I'm definitely a maximalist in the sense that like I want 14,000 of whatever is in our windows. So, Christmas balls it is.
Did you have, because, everywhere people fuck with people's things when they're outside. Did you have people like
so surprised for like Philly has such a reputation and rightfully so of being like
people stealing?
Yeah. And no, we really, we were joking when we were installing because balls were just, popping off the little toppers and just rolling all up and down the avenue. And we were kind of like, yeah, this is going to last. But no, the ones that were like, they were at waist level or below and they were in our window boxes for a little bit outside. And no, they really didn't get messed with at all. I was so impressed. I was like, oh, look, it's like the Christmas spirit. No one wants to screw with our
as jaded as I am, that's the first thing I think of like, oh God, I hope people don't fuck with that. Like,
no. And like, honestly, we had a couple bins of extra balls. And so like, we kind of were ready to be like, we were, had a discussion when we were installing about like, okay, like every week, when we come to like do our shop walk and everything, like, okay, we'll just bring extras with us in case we need to like replenish the planters. And no, they really held up, which was kind of amazing.
Oh my God. Okay, Nathan, I want to hear I know I've seen you at the show. I'd love to be able to sit down with you and get caught up and like hear how your day, like you are like back-to-back appointments. So what does pre-planning and all of that look like for you as we're going into the show?
So the summer shows, I'm buying holiday. Like I have written some holiday, like I'll go in January and I will bring back ornaments or whatever, seasonal item that I know can live another season and that I want for another season. But I'm all about, I sold a bazillion, cubes of butter, but I don't know that I want that on my floor again, and it would probably make us money, but we've done that for like 3 seasons. And I'm like, I just can't. So I really go to the summer shows looking for inspiration. As far as like the windows and all of that all happens in the summer show. Like I have not even remotely thought about it. I start looking and I have a file on my phone of things that I've taken pictures of that I've liked that, other stores have done, or like, I'm really big about like last year, our theme was love and joy. And so that kind of thread through the whole store. And we did some custom product. We had pillows, we had stockings that said love and joy on them that were exclusive to, and mugs that were exclusive to us, which I think kind of sets it apart because it's not the same things that we're seeing. So I do have to pull the trigger on those orders early. And that's kind of the way the theme of it goes. But we're not a big seasonal store. Like, we have a tree, we have a destination place for ornaments, and they're merchandised in like stories. But I'm all about, I want the gift. Like, I want the gift purchase. So I want to be the destination for the gift. The ornaments are a great, we're really successful with ornaments, but I don't spread it out through the whole store. Part of it's because I'm lazy and I just don't want to have to clean it up afterwards. And it's so much work. And I like to go on vacation, and I like being able to have staff. We'll put it like at 60 or 70% off whatever's left, so that when I come back, it's like we have nothing left to put away. It's really the true dogs that we're putting away. And last year, like, we had very little that went into storage. Like, it pretty much sold through. So I like that clean end. The other part of it that I like waiting later is because my life has been in corporate retail, where we are planning so far in advance. And I think, trends change as stories change. This year's going to be a lot of change because there's an election going on. A lot of things are going to unfold. I know, right? So I want to stay fluid because I don't know. I mean, we tossed around the idea at the January show of doing a Dolly Parton for president window.
Yes.
Because I thought, that's going to be, that will be very relevant when it comes to November when our windows get installed. So we will see. But I'm procrastinator, so I like to wait.
Me too.
The summer show will be really, really, really busy because I really do have to plan. But I do come armed with lots of reports. We've sliced and dissected the data as much as we possibly can so that I can buy as smartly as I can. It never seems to work, but on the really great items, it's like, I'll go in and I'll buy bulk that makes my heart pound because I know that I'm not going to be able to get it. Like, if I don't give the order right then and there, and I don't take it in, late August, early September, I'm not going to get it. So there's a couple of brands like that where we'll sit for hours and like try to figure out how many hats we need, how many gloves, how many scarves, how many robes, because it's like the volume is really what drives the business.
Yeah. Well, I love it. You mentioned you talked on reports, because I think, we talk about it, and I've had a couple open to buy people. It's like, your reports are your Bible. And, you really, I think all of you are extremely smart retailers, and it's not like you're just going and winging it. Like, you have your reports, your sell through, what's driving your business. And I think a lot of people get to the show and it's like, I'm just buying what I like. It's cute. And it's like, did that sell last time? And it's like, I have stores where it's like, how long have we had this? And they're like, I don't know. It's like a couple of years. Like, okay, like what, we need to get rid of it. And then what's driving your business? We sell a lot of this, Voluspa candles, but is that driving your business? Like, you sold a lot, and it's just, it's all on face value. Like, and it's like, did it get stolen, or did it all sell? Like, do you have the numbers so I'm glad that you touched on that. I know we're going into an hour, so I'm going to forego my second question. I'm going to have you guys ask each other questions, because I know you all are in your days of work. So except for Nathan. So I don't want to take you away too long, but I'm loving every second of this conversation right now. I'm not going to lie. Okay. Nathan, you're going to ask first.
Well, we'll go back to what Barbara already brought up, but I want to ask Sara. Sara's the youngest. But I'm at the age where I'm starting to think about, like, wow, like, I love this. I'm passionate about it. I still have a lot in me. And I feel very much like Barbara touched on, where I don't see like retirement and being on a cruise. But I do see old Nathan with a little bow tie walking through the shops and, pointing fingers and like, hey, you need to dust this. But at the same time, I also see Nathan not wanting to have to even do that part. Like, what I don't know what it looks like. I really have no clue. So I wanted to ask both Sara and Barbara, like, what is, a quick version of the exit strategy?
Me first, because I'm younger.
You have more time. Your story will change more.
Well, my 4-year-old seems to think that mommy's job is fun. So I think that's fine. I'll just work until she's old enough to do it. Just Nepo baby it. No, I mean, I don't know. It's honestly, I did the 10,000 small businesses program. Oh, it was like 8 years ago. And that was like the first question they asked on day one is like, what is your exit strategy? And 8 years later, I still have no idea. Ideally, hopefully maybe I'd have a group of employees that want to get together and, go in on some kind of partnership or something. I kind of, having sold a business that I worked really hard on and, watching that kind of unfold without me as part of it has been a weird learning experience. And I have to admit, I don't know if I could do that with Occasionette. So I am partially in like the Barb camp where I'm like, maybe it just ends with me. I don't really know. I know that my goal for the immediate future, I guess, the next 5 or 10 years is to just try to continue to work in smart ways and hiring in hopefully ways where I'm bringing on people who can do more and more of the parts, and extracting myself as much as I can so that, I hate to admit this, but I love to admit this. I don't know how to ring someone up in the store. And I kind of, that's great. Like I literally was in the shop for an early morning news thing the other morning, and the anchor wanted to buy something after. And I was like, well, you're just going to have to take it because I can't ring you up. Enjoy.
I love that.
Here's a gift because I have no way to take your money. You could Venmo me, I guess. And so, but I kind of love that because like, I don't want to be involved in the day to day. I don't want to be just making a job for myself. I want to be building a business. And so, I feel like the more I can, kind of teach people and, get other people involved in a high level, the better, so that, I want to be Sarah walking around with a bow tie being like, this is dusty. That's great. Also the joke is that I'll know I did a good job when I can just go to, our goal is to buy a house in Vermont. And I'm like, can I just sneak away to Vermont and no one notices? That'd be great. So yeah, I don't know. That's a non-answer, but that's what I got.
I have to confess, I can't do a return. I can ring. I can always take money, but I have no clue how to do a return. I always have to yell like, someone help me.
Yesterday, I had somebody come and ask me how much was on a gift card. And if you could see the mess I made in the system, like, you have to ask permission because we have a mat that you stand on, like, and it's long. And I tell, one of the things when we're training is if you're behind the register, if you're not on the mat, then, like, why aren't you on the mat? If that's like where you're supposed to be. And they're like, Barbara's not allowed on the mat.
What is your exit strategy? Or the same question for Barbara? No, you already.
Yeah, the same question.
And I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this classroom to new heights. And in all honesty, the whole reason we bought the building is because we will buy a place on the East Coast. And my hope and the big joke is that my daughter and her best friend who works here, who honestly is the one who does all the assembling of all the art installation stuff we do. We're going to buy a place on the East Coast where we could do basically retreats. And we're going to be the lost kitchen of craft.
Oh my God.
I love that.
So that would be the idea. Was we would come here, we would film, we would do certain things here. And then twice a year we would have things so we're looking at properties where we can put several ADU units up. So people could come and have a whole week-long thing. And then I'll walk through some little store called Lazy's or Maisie's and see if there's anything. I may buy something I may not. I don't know.
All right. Who's next on the questions?
I'll go. Okay. Now with the classroom, I can't be in the store as much. And the whole idea is that I'm not. And so hiring a quote unquote manager, I need words of wisdom. Like what? It's amazing. The first one that we had, there was a whole lot of like, well, can you deal with it whenever it comes time to tell somebody they can't have a day off they've requested or this? And I'm like, no. Okay, what are the lines? Like, what do you guys hands off? How much hands off are you with your managers?
Good one.
I'll take that one. So we don't have managers. Like everyone's a manager on their shift. We have a lead, usually a senior person that, is on a shift with another person that's working. So they're sort of, the lead that day, but makes them the manager. I manage it because our staff is not really big enough to like have a true manager, but we have people that will do scheduling. We have, a buyer. We have like all of these things that are dissected that makes the store run. We have a bookkeeper. But I think the day-to-day stuff, like I kind of want to be in charge of training them. I want them to feel really empowered when they're on the floor. So like the first thing out of my mouth when I'm training them is like, if you can't find the SKU and the price has fallen off, just be confident and make up a price. Like I'm never going to question you. I don't want to be like Home Depot where the SKU's gone and everyone has to stand in line behind while they pull up a manager. So I empower them. It's like, you know what? If you make a mistake, so what? I don't really care. I just want it to be a good experience. And I want you to feel like you're not going to be questioned. So that's the way I do it.
On our last interview that you talked about is the empowering your employees and like the, fine, make the price up. Don't like have the customer stand there and wait and like what's going on? Is someone coming? It's like, that'll be $20.
I think that's I think it's super key so that people feel empowered and they don't feel afraid when they're at work. Right. So, I mean, we've also talked to Michelle about like having a buyer. It's like, I let her run the business. Like I don't put my nose into the business. Occasionally I'll be like, hey, I saw this at another store. Like, you might want to consider it. It's cool, but that's it. Like I don't get involved because those are her businesses. And I want her to thrive and I want her to feel empowered and feel like I'm not, I am judging her because I'm looking at the money, but she can do what she wants to do. And then, we have, frequent talks about it, about where the business is. But it's like, if you're going to have people work, let them work, empower them. And it's not for everyone, right? It's like, it takes a special employee to be able to do that. But I mean, I've got people at all age groups that we've trained that way. And I think for the most part, they do a pretty good job of being able to feel like, hey, I'm going to make this decision because when I'm at the store, it's my store.
I love that. Sara?
I am pretty hands off with so we have 3 stores and each store has a manager. And the manager is in charge of, approving days off and scheduling. And I personally am pretty hands off with them because I generally at all times have a manager wrangler, for lack of a better term. Actually, the better term is director of customer service at this point in the company. And so, I think for me, the key has been that, to really, I think, have success with, a system like this that, I kind of, at this point, I'm trying to design to scale a bit. I just have to make sure that the person in the director of customer service position and I are very much on the same page in terms of what the expectation is for customer experience, what the expectation is for employee experience, what bars do we want to hold people up to and say, this is really important to us. This is key to delivering, an on-brand Occasionette, experience everywhere. Does it, live up to our mission statement? Does it live up to, is it consistent with the service that they're receiving across all 3 shops, things like that. So, and I think as long as you have someone who, just fully believes that, retail is important and retail is a career and retail, deserves the respect that fine dining does, like that to me is really, really, critical and, kind of from there, everything kind of hopefully falls into place, and you have, managers. I've kind of just accepted, I hate it, but I kind of just accepted that we're in a relatively high turnover industry, and I'll never have, great customer service people for as long as I want them. And so the best customer service people are inevitably at some point after some length of time, probably going to move on for whatever reason. It's a demanding field. It's just an interesting job. And so, I think that, as long as at the end of the day, there's someone who is, being a core, someone for these people to go to, and that remains consistent, that it will still be able to grow and be really strong as a business. And yeah, I think that a manager does need to put on their grown-up pants and say, if you can't work that day and you were scheduled for it, you need to find someone to cover your shift, or I expect to see you here. And it's hard, but it's a job. And what other job would be okay with someone just not fulfilling their responsibilities for a certain amount of time? That's just, it's not professional. And so at the end of the day, I think that's one thing that we hear a lot at Occasionette is, oh, I didn't realize, I thought this was just a retail job. I didn't realize that it was you treat it like it's a real job or a real professional business. And I'm like, well, it is a real professional business for a lot of the people that work here. And I think it deserves a lot of respect. I think that retail is this weird special animal that doesn't get considered when it comes to, professions. And, when you find someone who is a retail lifer, it feels I feel like I need to hold on to them. And, what can we do to work together? And it's a special, weird little thing. And it's like herding cats.
That is something I do not miss at all. Okay, Sara, your question for the...
I have just started working with an open to buy program, and I was just wondering if either of you had experience working within, open to buy systems or reports, and I guess if you had, I don't know, pros or cons, or if you liked it, if you're still doing it.
I can go on that one. We just installed a new kind of, a very new kind of software program that has made all reporting possible to the point where it is mind-boggling. And I got it through a consultant who does a lot of he works with a lot of people on open to buy. And he said, I've never seen anyone hunker down on their categories the way you have. He goes, you don't need an open to buy person. You need to know how to use this technology to do your own. And I'm obsessed with it. And I do treat it very much like an open to buy, just from anyone else. And I do a lot of that whole Pixar where the guy is both sides of the checkers thing. And I try to be hard on myself on one side and then sit on the other side and say, but I want to spend on this. It's really good. And it's opened my eyes to so many things. We, right before COVID, added clothing in, much to my not happiness. But is now our number one category, whether I like it or not. It just is what it is. And when some woman comes up with 5 pair of pants, I'm like, don't you want to buy a pillow? A pillow's really pretty. You already have lots of pants. Buy a pretty pillow. Buy a vase. Buy something for your house to make it pretty. And so, and the girls literally have it. Our top 5 customers that Barbara is not interested in, our top 5 customers in this category and this and that. And we use those as our visuals when we're doing our themes and stuff, because I'm just not into clothes. And so using that stuff for the open to buy in the clothing has really helped me be much better at that. And now that I understand how I'm using it in there, I'm trying to really use it on the other. And it does help a lot. It really is just a really good way to hunker down on those numbers, and having such great technology to be able to twist the numbers to be able to look at them from every scope. I don't know I know you did 10,000 small businesses. The one thing that I got from the group that we were in was this guy said, take an octagon and name every corner and look at one subject in your business through every one of those corners. And I literally have mine. And I hold it because I think it's just such an amazing way. And one of them is like a 4-year-old. Like one of the pieces on the octagon is a 4-year-old. Like if I were a kid and my mom wanted to go into Daisies, I would cry bloody murder because I'm not supposed to touch everything, yet it's so tactile. That's all I want to do. So I try to look at it and make it more amenable to all the different sides of it. And that technology has really helped me be very realistic.
Wow. I love the idea of looking. I mean, again, like I think so many retailers that I talk to don't use reports at all. And you're literally running your business blind and there's so much your reporting will tell you. And in, just like a super short story, Anthro, you would have your velocity items, whatnot. And in every week we'd have meetings. And it was like, if your velocity item dropped off, it was either not on the floor or it was somewhere that you couldn't see and it wasn't being shopped. And it was like, those are your two things you left the meeting with. It's like, I need to figure out where this item is because we know it could not be on the floor, but 9 times out of 10, it was in a bad space. And just that lesson alone of those reports of that telling you that is so important. So for those of you who are out there listening and you don't have some kind of reporting, like that is like just hearing this is like worth it enough to go look into Open to Buy or starting to look at your reports or pulling, all of it.
Our new software lets us, so now when we set up a display, we can tag that every item in that display with that number and then remove them when it's done. But I can run a report on day 1 of that display being set up and 6 weeks in, and then untag them and tag them where they got moved to. So I can see exactly how it performed in whatever section of the store it's in. It's just
amazing.
So
wow. We do work with an Open to Buy and have for a long time. It's not nearly as sophisticated as what Barbara's talking about. It's a lot of a calculator and a pen and a pencil and a lot of other reports that our POS system has generated. And it's given to me by our CFO, who's the partner in the store. And so, I don't touch money. I'm not allowed to do anything that has to do with money. So he will break it down by like vendor, like what showroom I spent X amount of dollars with, which vendors in the showrooms. And so I'm armed at the show with all of that data, which is a bit overwhelming. I think on the velocity items, it's my Bible. I use it. I'm usually a little bit over my Open to Buy, but I have good reason because our reports, I'm always looking at okay, we sold X amount of this. And this is especially true at Christmas time, but the last time it sold was on December 20th. What could have I sold if I'd had the stock between the 20th and the 24th? And so I'll build that, and that's where I give myself more Open to Buy so that I can capture those numbers, because I think that's low hanging fruit. So easy just to buy enough. But yeah, we definitely, I stick to an Open to Buy. I'm held accountable for it. When I come back from the show, Tom does an accounting of what I've spent. On rare occasions, he'll be like, hey, you didn't really buy enough, which is great. I love hearing that. And then on lots of occasions, he'll be like, you're done. So, I definitely recommend it.
Oh my God, you guys. Okay. One, I need to take a picture of all of you, and then I'm going to let you all get back to your stores. Say hello. Yeah. Thank you all so much. Like I said, I absolutely loved our conversations we've had together, and to have all three of you here and to talk about retail and catch up with where you are. I can't thank you enough, because also this is in the middle of a Monday that you all are in your, well, Nathan's not in his store, but you all are working. So thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you.
So fun.